Today's message from Reverend Christian Sorensen was recorded May 15th, 2016, and it's titled, Become It. Subtitled, You Are the One. Become that expression of the truth that you are Spirit. On Friday, May 27th, 2016, we have a featured upcoming event here at Seaside with James von Praagh and Lynn Probert, titled An Evening of Spirit. At the end of this podcast, we've also included a testimony from a woman that was there last year and is coming back this year, but with the rest of her family. Come visit us sometime at www.seasidecenter.org or join us in Encinitas, California sometime, where great music, a spirited message, and a joyful, loving community always await you.
Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home, 'cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome
Okay, so hey, this morning is about Become It. And what came to mind is, remember from The Matrix when they asked Neo, are you the one? Are you the one? Yes. One, yes. Are you the one? Good. Well, then this is the message, because the secret to that is you've got to become it. If you are the one, you have got to become it. Remember, you are the way, the light, the life. You are that. You've got to become that because you are the one. You are the one that's been chosen to enter into this world at this time with your unique gift and your unique expression. But you've got to be willing to share that in the midst of whatever is going on in your life. You are the one. You have to become it to be that one. You know, when I'm thinking about being that in the midst of places where it doesn't feel comfortable, or there's controversy, or there's chaos, I'm reminded of the story Thich Nhat Hanh shares about when the boat people were being shipped off from Vietnam. And they would all cram into a boat as much as they could get into that boat. And the boat would go off at sea. And all of a sudden, if that boat hit a storm, or if there were pirates, and everybody was flipping out, and they were just, this is the end of our life, this is the end of the world. And if everyone on the boat went bonkers, that was it. They were going down. The problem was real. But if there was just one person, just one individual who could remain centered, that individual would be like a tuning fork. They would cast a vibration that would bring a calm upon the whole boat, and things would be okay. They know that they could get through this storm or this piracy or what have you. You are that one who has been called to be the expression of the calm, the clarity, the new sight, the new way of seeing. You have to be that, though. You have to become that in the midst of dynamic, in the midst of controversy, in the midst of chaos. You're the one who has to stand up in the boat when everybody's flipping out and saying it's going to be okay. Even if the headlines are saying this, even if the earth has too many CO2 emissions, no matter what is going on, you're the one who's got to say, you know what? Let's hold the center here. Let's know something is going on there. There's a greater vision. There's a greater thought that needs to come forth. And you're the one. Are you the one? Yes. Good. You know, when Wernher von Braun was asked by President Kennedy what it would take to get a person, probably said man, a man on the moon, a person on the moon by rocket. And Wernher von Braun said just 5 words. He didn't tell President Kennedy, you know what, let's get all the greatest scientific minds on the planet together, let us brainstorm, let's plan, let's calculate, let's run the math and the projections, all of those things. He said, if you have the will. Yeah. Do you have the will? That's what it takes. You've got this great vision that you have been entrusted with to go out and do a great thing, or even just be who you are in the midst of controversy. Do you have the will to be able to hold that vision, to hold that thought? Do you have that ability to say, you know what, I'm centered here, and I'm going to bring that forward? Because just one little thought in there can undermine you. You know, there's an Irish proverb that says, even a little thorn can fester. Right? Even a little thorn, even a little thought in your mind can begin to work its way in. It can worm itself in there. It can begin to propagate itself and create havoc in your world. I had a little thorn in my finger the last week or so, a little thing. I didn't even see it, and it blew up like a balloon. I'm reminded that's what a thought, a negative thought, a controversial thought, something that doesn't support who you are can do to your life and your world. It can blow up like a balloon, and you can miss it all. Marcel Proust, wonderful French writer, critic, he said the journey of discovery isn't dependent on new territory, but new eyes. It's not dependent on new territory. It's how am I going to look at this here? How am I going to see things differently? Because the Spirit is infinite. It's everywhere. It's everything. It's been given already. Then what's necessary is for me to have the new eyes in which I can see so I can become that. So I can become it, that which I'm seeing. Not the controversy, not the confusion, but how can I become it? It comes down to me. You know, when they put the Hubble telescope out in space, they pointed it to the darkest, blackest void of nothingness. So just a little square inch out there where they just hoped they would catch a little bit of light in that inch of space. And what that telescope revealed, which surprised everyone, was 1 billion new galaxies because they brought a new eye. They brought a new way of seeing. See, there's so much more possibility in our life that we're forgetting because we're not seeing it. You know, we haven't gone beyond the edge or the boundary of what it is we know, so we don't know what's on the other side. And we tend to just close down and say, okay, that's good, that's it. That's about all I can see. All I can see is fine. Yeah. Ashling was talking about this beautiful sign, change your thinking, change your life, of Ernest Holmes. Now imagine if you came in here at night and it was dark and all you had was a candle to look around. You know, could maybe see a banner up there, but couldn't really read the words on it. You know, the light is kind of, it's going up to the ceiling, it's going down to the ground. It's got this candle maybe shining on the walls a little bit, but you can't see it very well. But if you were to take that light of the candle and put it like in a flashlight so it's concentrated, and shining it up there, boom, there would be enough light there. But it was diffused. It was shining all over the place, which has its purpose. But you know what? If you want to see that vision, you got to be willing to have a mind say, okay, I'm going to look here now, and I'm going to see 1 billion new galaxies, 1 billion new possibilities for my life, 1 billion reasons why I can stand in the calm in a boat in the middle of a storm and cast a frequency that people go, yeah, it's going to be okay. See, we get caught up in our thinking, our thoughts, and our perspective, and it's what we do. We get caught up in that, and when I meditated, it's what I've noticed is that my mind, it has this chatter. So I want to find out what's all this chatter about. So I sit down. And what I've come to discover, a lot of that inner conversation that's going on, the chatter, is really my checking in. Do I like this or I don't like this? Whatever's going on. Do I like it? Don't like it. This is my preference. You're in, you're out. And it's like if I really listen, it sounds like a bunch of catty people on a talk show. Just dishing on this person and that situation. Oh, no, I like it. Oh, I don't like it. Can you believe that person? Or this situation. Man on the moon by the end of the decade? Nah, I don't think. And really, that's what it gets. And that's what gets going, and that's what gets festered. What I've got to do, I've learned to do, is I just got to clear it out and see if I can be in the flow of life without being judgmental, if you would. You try this. It's an assignment for you this week. Sit there with your thoughts and pay attention. And what I discovered is that a lot of it has to do with, do I like this or do I not like this? And to get out of that, can I just be present for what is? Like try weather. That's a safe subject, right? I wake up and it's overcast. And it's like, oh man, not another overcast day. You're kidding me. It's like, it could have been overcast all week, but we got the EcoFest today. And I got to go out there. It's like, why can't it just be an overcast day and that be okay? Why do I have to wish it was sunny today? Why can't I just appreciate the fog? Do you know how much money people pay to go to Carmel so they can sit in the fog? And we got it here for nothing. Why can I just be okay with what is flowing as life in my world now and have it be that? Can I be okay with, what's going to happen, what unfolds out of this situation? I'm going to be able to work with in my life. James Von Praag's coming to Seaside. We're very excited about that. And he definitely stretches the boundaries. We have these concepts of how things are, and it's like a candle that only shows so much. But what he does is he allows us to see what's on the other side of the veil. And a heads up, it's going to be really crowded. Ticket sales are going well. We've got extra parking. You're the inside crowd, so I'm telling you where it is. Because these 125 spots are going to be gone quick. But just a block away at the LDS church, the Latter-day Saints, they have gifted us that evening the 150 parking spots. So I'm giving you a heads up. If you got your ticket, grab it before the others do. No. You guys are my family. I'm giving you the secret. Anyway, so James Von Praagh, he talks about, what it's like when we transition. And he says, the souls you recognize from the physical plane who have made the transition all have the task to perform as time nears, from influencing your transition to creating a welcoming environment. Even deaths that we as humans would term sudden or unexpected, like accidents or murders, are viewed well in advance from the spirit side. Guides, families, and teachers are always aware and bound to the soul in its every move and will steer it in the progression to get back home. You must know that no soul ever transitions alone. The spirit people, the ones on the other side, take such care of you and exhibit such concern for you on your journey that they are all very prepared and excited for you to enter their world. It's the epitome of a welcome home party. It's like it's taken care of, guys. Can you rest in that and not be all wigged out that, oh no, I'm going to die? It's part of it. There's as many people leaving here as there are coming in. I've got that figured out. It's not higher math. Everyone who's born here steps on out. And what I've discovered is nature provides for people entering this world. Didn't you get guided and situated in this world? You came into a family that got you on your legs and moving in this dimension. It seems obvious to me, even if I don't know what's on the other side, that nature will provide for the transition. It's just as common leaving as it is coming. And so nature will provide for that. And Von Praagh is saying, you know what? And it's the same people that you were hanging out here, the ones that you are familiar with. And so relax. It's going to be okay. There's no need to get yourself all stressed out about it. Become available for the magic that happens in that time of transition. I got to tell you, in my 35 years of ministry, I've sat with a lot of people on their bedside as they were getting ready to make their transition. And I can't even tell you how many times people will reach out and tell me who it is they see, or their hands go up, or their eyes are there, or they'll call out the names. It is just something that is provided for. Can I become that? Can I have a bigger view than what I had? Do I have to sit in the consciousness of really what I would call malpractice of individuals freaking out about death? No, you don't. You are the one who gets to decide, this is natural. This is going to be good when it comes. Not that I'm rushing into it or anything, but when it does arrive, I'm going to be fully conscious. I'm going to embrace it. It doesn't hurt. It may hurt on this side until you check out, but you know what? The transition doesn't hurt. It's like diving into the water on a lake on a summer day. It's like first, it's okay. But what we do is we try to conjure up images based on what it is we know. There's a saint, I guess this is probably a metaphor, but who was given the gift of speaking to ants, out of all things. And so he found one of what he thought was a scholarly-looking ant. And said, "You look kind of scholarly, in the Almighty. The Almighty? Do you believe in the Almighty? What is the Almighty? Do you believe? What does the Almighty look like? I'm trying to find out. Does he look like you?" And the ant said, "Yeah, we believe in the Almighty, but no, he doesn't look anything like us. We only have one stinger, and he has two." That's what we do. We just kind of make this image. If they have like a ministerial school where they're at the seminary, they probably debate about, the size of the second stinger. It's not going to be as large as God's or the Almighty's, but ours. And then the battle probably goes on. They maybe even fight wars at where do you think the placement of that stinger is going to be? Is it going to be here? Is it going to be there? It's like these ridiculous things we fight over. Does it really matter? No, it's one stinger too. That, it's going to look like this or it's going to look like. What matters is our connection with that life force. What matters is our ability to feel the oneness with the presence of God. What's important is not for us to take our image, what we think it's supposed to look like, whether it's a person, whether it is God, whether what it is. You are the one that Spirit is moving through, and you've got to be present and not be caught up in your thoughts or your thinking, your likes or your dislikes. You've got to be available for what is beyond the edge and be present for that and discover that in your meditation so it is real for you. But we project. There was this little 5-year-old girl. She pulled out of her mom's doctor bag stethoscopes and she put them on her ear and she was playing with it, and her mom was so excited. She was thinking, my little girl, my little baby is going to be a doctor like me. And the little girl takes the listening part of the stethoscope and puts it up to her mouth and says, "Welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order, please?" Like, deflate. Deflate that image, How can I become it when I'm already stuck in an old position? Life is a progression. It is an unfoldment. What served me well here served me well here. But life is about flow. The mystical is being one with the flow and the evolution of spirit. How can I be one with the flow if I'm holding on to over there? I've got to be willing to be current and fresh. There was a guru at his ashram, and every evening when he would do his meditation and the people would come and they would sit around in the meditation hall, the cat on the grounds would come on in to the meditation hall, and people are off, Om, in Samadhi, in another realm or wherever they go, and the cat would come and they rub up against the people that were sitting there, and they'd come and the cat would settle into somebody's lap. And this was really bugging the lead guru because, this was not the experience that he wanted people to have. So what he asked is that just during the evening meditations, would you please just tie up our cat? And so they put the cat on the leash during evening meditations. And so every night when they would gather to do their meditations, the lead monk or whatever would grab the cat and put him on the leash, and they'd tie him up to the post, and afterwards they let him go, and that was the way it is. And it worked out just fine. And when the guru made his transition and died, they continued the practice, putting the cat on the leash. Well, when the cat died, they went out and got a new cat so they could tie him up on the leash at night during the evening meditation practices. And as this went on for years, about a century later, they're now debating. They wrote these dissertations and these beautiful papers as to the reason one ties up a cat for evening meditations. That's what happens when we get stuck and aren't available to become what's next for us to be in our life. We're so busy defending what made sense at one time, but no longer serves us now. Are you the one to bring forth what's new and what's next? I mean, the story of the Holiday Inn? Kemmons Wilson took his family. It was like 1950. There weren't any Holiday Inns in 1950. He took his family on a vacation, road trip. He was disgusted by the quality of the hotels that were on the road for travel. And what they charged to have your kids stay with you was just outrageous, ridiculous, made no sense. So he came back and called his buddy, Walter Johnson, and said, "Hey, why don't we start some hotels where kids could stay for free?" You remember the advertisement for the Holiday Inns forever? Kids stay for free. That was their marketing gimmick. Do you know by 1970, 20 years later, there were more Holiday Inns than Sheraton's, Hilton's, or Ramada chains combined. They were building a new room every 13 minutes in 1970. The guys, they finally sold out to the Bass Corporation. They lived happily ever after, nice and fat and happy. Walter Johnson died, and Kemmons, he wrote a book, Half Lucky, Half Brains. Kind of good title. But by the age of 80, he was bored. I mean, it's like, he's 80 years old, so what am I going to do next? So he decided he was going to start a new chain of hotels. And by the time he died, he had built 100 new Wilson Inns across the country. I share that story because it doesn't matter if you're 80 years old, you can go out and start a whole new chain of hotels. Your age has nothing to do with what's stirring in your soul or the vision you catch or what's on the other side of your edge. If there is something inside of you that is willing to stand strong and calm in the vision in which you have called to be, go for it. It doesn't matter if you're a 5-year-old and you are just a prodigy and it is moving through you, or if you're an 85-year-old and there's a vision moving for you. Go do it. There's nothing that needs to hold you back other than your mind that's saying, I don't think that's a smart idea at this point. And that's the time you've got to, there's a saying that says, bite off more than you can chew every day. And chew. Say yes to that vision. Bite off more than you think you can chew, and chew. That is the way it works. And if that's not working, you go to a spiritual practitioner. They'll pray. They're good. Actually, you go there first, and then you find the ability. But I want you to be aware that our style of prayer is not quite the same as the traditional styles of prayer. Our prayers are not like a transference. You come to me, I pray, and boom, you get it. It's not as if we are sending our prayers to you, to your mind, to spirit. In our style of prayers, we call them spiritual treatments. Like one goes to a medical practitioner for physical treatment. You go to a spiritual practitioner for a spiritual, and we work in the realm of mind treatment. And they work in the realm of mind, and there is only one mind, and that's the mind of God. It is an infinite consciousness. It is everything, everywhere. And so what is known in one place, it is known everywhere, which is why we don't need to transfer. I don't need to send my thought to your thought or my thought to God, so it come back down to you. There's only one space. And once it is known and that resonant field is cast and is set, it is known everywhere. That's the morphogenetic field. That is the non-local aspect of mind. You can get all the scientific names you want. All I care is it works like that. And I watch it happen over. Our prayers aren't, I'm praying for you, and you never hear you in our treatments. It's not, you are a divine expression of God. There is no you out there. It is only here. It is I. It is the great I am. And as I come to step into this field, I know that that field is cast everywhere. It's not my thoughts trying to overcome the situation. That's like a mind science. It's the mind over matter. I recognize this used to be called a mental science because it is teachable. There are principles and there are laws in which we can all use. But I want us to get that it's not about the transference of my mind over matter. That is probably the way in which we started, which was helpful. But you know what? We came to discover that there is a greater kingdom than the kingdom of mind. And that's the spiritual realm. The realm of spirit, of God, of presence, of love, of heart, soul. You can call it what you want, but that's where we operate. And once there's something known in one place of truth, it's known everywhere. And so the logical question that I'm often asked in class, so I'll give it to you up front. I won't let you go home with it. So Christian, what if someone's thinking an evil thought here? If there's only one mind, does that make that evil everywhere present? Same theory. Good, bad. No. And I'll tell you why, so you don't just have to think, I'm telling you so. It's no, because the evil is not, as Ernest Holmes would tell us, is not a person, place, or thing of itself. It doesn't have any entity unto its own life. Yes, there are challenges or evil or difficulties in the human experience because they're being perpetuated by yourself or an individual or something. But I'll tell you what, in the spiritual consciousness, the spiritual truth is spirit, and there is nothing else. It is if, here we go, here's an example for you, how it works. Let's say I believe, this is my thought, this is evil, that 2 times 2 equals 5. That is my belief, and I'm casting it in the mind so you get it. Got it? No, you don't have, because 2 times 2 is 4. That's your protection. There's no battle. There's no power that is greater. And there's just no reality to that falseness. And in the realm of the divine, there is no reality to that which is not spirit. Does that make sense? Yes. Kind of. Okay, I'll keep working. I'll stick with the 2 plus 2. Let's say a child is taught 2 plus 2 equals 5. That's their belief. That's how they get into life. That's where they're operating from until they get into kindergarten or wherever and they play with blocks. As soon as they get 2 blocks and 2 blocks, they know they got 4 blocks and 5 blocks is no longer their reality. I share this because when you know the truth of your being is spirit, is infinite, is divine, you're living in an abundant universe, you are an expression of spirit, that life is eternal, is immortal. That's your truth. And no matter whether it's an individual or a collective consciousness, the malpractice in that mind doesn't have any effect on you. And there's not trying to power to be greater than thinking 2 + 2 is 5. It's not. And these false images just aren't. And when you come to know the truth of who you are is spirit, because if spirit is infinite, science, math will tell you, 1 plus nothing leaves 1, spirit, which is infinite. There cannot be anything else. And so what is essential is that you become it. That you become that expression. And that expression is not something that you're attempting to send out anywhere, nor does anybody have to come to you. I got to tell you how often I hear people say, Christian, I just think of you, or Seaside, and healing happens. And what I've come to discover is my responsibility is to do the work. Is to continue to do the meditation daily, do my prayers daily, do my visioning daily, do my contemplation daily. To do that so what I am is in that field. So when somebody reaches out, or when practitioners, they do the same thing every day. They do their spiritual work. So when somebody reaches out in mind or in consciousness, there's only one mind, and healing can happen. Like the story of Jesus when the woman touched the hem of his garment and she was healed. It's like, what was that? Didn't even know. But there was a field, there was a consciousness that all that she had to do is reach out and touch that. Or I'm sure the centurion's servant didn't even know that his boss was talking to the big guy, saying, man, my guy's sick, would you heal him? He said, you want me to go there? I said, no, just say it's good. It's your faith that has made that friend whole, which is why somebody can reach out who's for their child, or their parent, or their pet. They just reach out and they touch that field and drop that name into that field. And boom. 2 + 2 is no longer 5. It's 4. Wasn't a battle. Wasn't a power over another. It's like a mirage, just gone. It's like spirit's everything. And when people go, yeah, but what about, and I say, and what part of everything don't you get? You got that? What part of everything don't you get? Oh, this sickness, I don't know about that. This bank account, I don't know about that. This age, I don't know. Stop it. You need to become it. That vision that you have been entrusted to with what it is you got. You don't have to understand everything I'm saying. It's about your connection. It's about you doing the meditation and the prayers and the visioning and the affirmations and the lowly listening and the silence and the retreats. It's you coming to that experience. It's not about the information. I can't tell you. They'll say, only if they could understand this. It's not about the understanding. I really wish this person would understand this truth that I'm trying to. They don't have to understand it. What matters is that they have that spiritual realization, is that divine spirit that does the healing, the consciousness. You reach out and you step into that space, and all of a sudden something happens. I love the story. It's been told for a long time, probably from the days in which it originated, when the Christians were out trying to convert those that weren't. And there was a bishop on a boat out on probably South Seas, on a small South Pacific island, and the bishop got on the rowboat and rowed himself into shore, or he probably had somebody row him into shore. I wasn't there. But the story goes that, he saw these 3 fishermen, sitting on the coast, working on their nets, and he went up and he said to them, are you guys Christians? And in their pidgin kind of English, they go, yeah, I'm very proud of that. He said, oh, really? And do you know the Lord's Prayer? We don't know the Lord's Prayer. What's the Lord's Prayer? He said, well, how do you guys pray? And they said, well, we look up at the sky and we pray. We say, we are 3, you're 3, blessed be to us 3. Well, the minister was just aghast, taken back. I mean, that is like the most heathenistic thing I'd ever heard. I got to teach you the Lord's Prayer. So he spent the day teaching them the Lord's Prayer. He felt pretty good. The guys got it down. They understood the Lord's Prayer. End of the day, felt nice, jumped back into his rowboat. They were rowing back out. They were about back out to their ship that was docked out in the bay. When he started, "Hey, Reverend, hey, Rev, hey, Rev." And the minister, he looked over his shoulder, and there he saw these 3 fishermen running across the top of the water. And they said, "Hey, Rev, we forgot how that prayer goes. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." We forgot. What goes after that? And he just looked at them standing on the water and said, "Go back to we are 3, you're 3, blessed be the 3. It's the words. They don't matter as much as the being. Trying to get somebody to understand you doesn't matter as much as those that are willing to touch that hem and reach out and experience that Spirit. You are the one. You got that? You are the one. You've got to say yes to that because you've been asked to come into a world where you got a boat of people that are it's shaken in this world. And we need you to bring a new thought. We don't need new territory. What we need are your new eyes and your new thought to be brought to the present situation and begin to realize that it's not dire, but rather there are a billion new galaxies of possibilities right where it is you stand. You are a spiritual leader who's been called to the world for a time such as this. And my charge to you is to go out there and to be that. God bless you as you do. I love you.
My name is Joan Doyle, and I'm a member here at Seaside Center, and fairly new. So when an opportunity comes up, like it did last year, to attend a function, a new event, something different, broadening my horizons, I signed up for this, for his event. And at the same time, I will say I was skeptical. And when the evening started and he walked in to the sanctuary, the energy level within the room was soaring. It was not only was it an evening of enlightenment and enrichment, but it changes your scope of thinking and acting and feeling. And I didn't have an immediate connection through James, but the young lady who sat to my right did, and the energy was so close to her and to her departed loved one through James. It was an experience that I'll never forget. Stays with you. It's an emotional high. You've learned a lot. You don't take a step back from that, and you just want to keep learning and growing some more.
And would you go again?
I'm not only going again, I'm bringing my family from the East Coast is coming for that nice long weekend. And I'm a volunteer here again this year, and just seeing the excitement to his being here it's like energizes all of us. And just so looking forward to it.